Hello, Jay International here. Today I'd like to talk to you about the Thailand Elite Visa. Before I continue, understand, I am not an immigration or financial planning expert, though I did work in finance most of my career and do have a Thailand Elite Visa. I am not in any way affiliated with the Thailand Elite program. All opinions are my own. Some of the information I've gathered are from personal experience, while other data points predate my time in Thailand and are from third parties. If you're aware of facts that are counter to what I report in this video, feel free to state so in the comments below. Thailand Elite Visa, also known as a Special Entry Visa, began in 2003. It was a lifetime visa with very generous benefits. In fact, they were so generous, the program became insolvent. If you search archival threads on sites like thaivisa.com, you'll see a wave of panic in early 2009 as losses mounted and the program was nearly abandoned. After a near-death experience, the program, rebranded as a Thailand Elite or Privilege Entry PE Visa, was resurrected into a more sustainable framework, which includes 5, 10, and 20-year tiers with varying costs and associated benefits for each. Now let's dig into the details about the current Elite program. As I was saying in my introduction, there are two categories for the Thailand Elite Visa: the SE Special Entry Visa, which was the original version, or the Privilege Entry PE Visa. Now there's some key differences between these two visas. While the SE Visa tended to have much more generous benefits and was available for much longer duration, up to a lifetime, it does have one drawback. In this document here, it's from about 3 years ago, but it's still applicable. They say here in Thai, for the Special Entry SE Visa, every time you come in, you'll get a 90-day extension, and that you can do this as much as you want within a 5-year period. So there is a key difference between reporting and extensions. And this can be confusing because there's 90-day reporting, which means every 90 days you have to tell Thai immigration an update of your address. And then there is extension, and that's how long your visa is valid. So in the case of the Special Entry Visa, it's 90 days reporting and 90-day extension. The second category, the Privilege Entry Visa, though it has somewhat less generous benefits, it has one major benefit. So here they're saying, Privilege Entry Visa, you get a 1-year extension every time within 5 years. So that means you leave the country, you come in, you're going to get a whole year extension. Another aspect I want to draw your attention to is the unlimited exit and entry within a 5-year window. Regardless if you have 5, 10, or 20-year Thailand Elite visas, they are always issued within 5-year windows. So if you have a 5-year version, you'll get one stamp, and then after 5 years, it's over. In the case of a 10-year, after 5 years, Thailand Elite will help you get a second stamp. If you have a 20-year version of the visa, every 5 years, you'll get another stamp, so it will be done 4 times, and so on and so forth. So the Thailand Elite program, first and foremost, is a visa. And that is the main reason most people get it. They want to be able to stay in Thailand long-term without hassle. However, the Elite program markets itself as much more than a visa. And if we look at some of this promotional material that they send out, you can see the angle that they're getting at. Now this probably turns on and turns off just as many people. A lot of people, they just want to be able to stay in Thailand a long time. They want a long-term visa. They're not eligible for a retirement visa or another program that would let them do so. Okay, so the Thailand Elite program, you can see here this gentleman and this woman are being catered to and VIP and all their needs are being taken care of. So that is appealing to some people, but other people are like, look, I don't want to pay for that, I don't need that. And there's this table in here, and we'll get into the details in this table in just a minute. But the table really tries to give you that. They strip down the benefits for people who really just want the visa, and then they'll bulk up the benefits for those who really want the VIP top shelf treatment. There is actually an Elite Visa and an Elite card. The Visa is a sticker or stamp that is applied to your passport that gives you the right to stay in Thailand. It is the card that confers the benefits, and this card must be presented when redeeming them at various retailers or services. There are several variations of this card, and we'll discuss that in the next segment. This is a copy of the promotional material I showed you just a moment ago in PDF format. What you see here is a table that explains the different versions of the Thailand Elite program. If we look here across the x-axis, you see the different versions of the card. And this is not necessarily in order from the one with the most privileges to the one to the least. It's not really in any particular order. So again, these are the different versions of the card. And then if we look down along the y-axis, we see the different facets of all the visas. So let's zoom in a little and we'll just go through this line by line. So we see here privileges and requirement. That means who is eligible to get the visa. And we see here in every case, foreigner, because this is really not something that's necessary for Thai people, or really even someone who has permanent residence, but it's certainly explicitly for people who are not Thai citizens. So every line you'll see foreigner, but you'll notice there's some qualifications for different versions of the visa. So this Elite Ultimate Privilege Grand Package is the one with the most benefits. It's also the most expensive. So this one says foreigner. Then we see Elite Family Premium. It says foreigner with core member. So in the family packages, the visa will actually be allocated to one person. That will be the core member. And then downstream family members may also be eligible for certain benefits. So here it's saying foreigner, core member. So the core member has to have this Elite Ultimate Privilege, or EUP, and then they will be entitled to other benefits as well. Here we say foreigner. Then here again, this Elite Family Excursion, at least 2 persons or more. So this one, you have to have at least 2 people. Foreigner, foreigner, foreigner. And then this last version, the Elite Property Partnership, is eligible in some situations for people who purchase new condos. That is another way in which you can get the Elite Visa. So this property partnership, you'll notice there isn't a price because this comes with the condo. And they're not going to give you something for free. So it's probably at a certain price threshold. It's a new condo. And the saying here, if you want another family member, you can have 2 people per unit. You see here this second line, validity, and that's basically how long the visa is good for. And again, they're always issued in 5-year increments, but depending on the duration of the visa, it may be extended several times. So this Elite Ultimate Privilege, 20 years, and this one, again, there's a core member and then a dependent family member. Elite Privilege Access, 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, 20 years, and so forth. And you'll notice some repetition. It's not just like there's a 5, 10, and 20-year version. There's different versions because there is some nuance within the validity timeframes. And as we go through this table, that'll make more sense. B is the one-time total cost of the visa. For the Elite Ultimate Privilege, that is 2 million baht. However, some visa types also have ongoing maintenance fees, known as annual fees. And Thailand Elite feels this is merited because the benefits are so extensive, which we will go through in a minute. The Elite Family Premium, which again is like a derivative of the Elite Ultimate Package, also has a fee, and that is 10,000 for the family member. You'll notice really none of the other ones have fees, so it's just this Elite Ultimate Privilege. And you could say this one is a class of its own. It's probably, everybody thinks about money, but these are people who are maybe less concerned with saving and more concerned with benefits. Age. The Elite Ultimate Privilege is the only one that really seems to have an age restriction, 20 years old at least, and then everyone else is any age. And as I mentioned before, we see everyone has 5-year renewable, and if the visa is only a 5-year visa, then it's not going to be renewable. It's just a 5-year period. So you're only going to see this word renewable if the duration is longer than 5 years. So airport service in this EPA means Elite Personal Assistance. And everybody is getting a yes here. So every version of this has that. And what this means is if you notify Thailand Elite ahead of time, there'll be a personal assistant to help you go through immigration. And there's actually a separate counter for Thailand Elite members. And that's one of the major benefits is that somewhat like the TSA or the global entry programs in the United States where you can get the expedited access. So that's a major benefit of this program. See here, airport lounge, and everybody's getting a yes here. But this one, for the property partnership, they're saying arrival only. So if you're departing and you have this particular version of the visa, you are not eligible for the airport lounge. Okay. Next line, we see short haul and long haul. So what is this referring to? This is referring to what they call the limo service, and that is getting picked up from your home and brought to the airport, or brought from the airport back to your home. It does go both ways, and not everybody gets this. And we see it broken into two tiers. And note, this is only for international flights. So if you're in Thailand and you're going from Phuket to Chiang Mai or from Bangkok to Udon Thani, you're not eligible for this limo pickup service. So they break it down into two, and you'll see there's actually, for the short haul, 50 or 80, and that depends on the airport that you're at. I think they're willing to take you a little farther if you're in Bangkok, but other airports, and you'd have to check with Thailand Elite how this breaks down. But short haul is a smaller difference. Let's just say 50 kilometers. And then long haul is really quite far. It's 275 kilometers. So going through this, you'll see that there's unlimited for the Elite Ultimate Privilege, unlimited for this one, which is basically a derivative of that. And all the other ones, either they have it or they don't, or there's kind of limitations of it. For this Elite Privilege Access, there's 18 times, 4 times, 24 times. And then when it comes to this long haul, there's only this Elite Family Excursion version that has the long haul. And a theme here with these benefits, why there's different benefits for different tranches of the visa, is they're trying to target what they think each group would want. And for this group, the Elite Family Excursion, which is for at least 2 people, and it's 800,000 for the 2 people, and then you can add on additional people. They figure these are people, I guess, that have big families and they're going to be needing to travel a long distance. So they've targeted this benefit really exclusively for this particular one. Okay, they have this other category called Adventure Thailand, and that's the ability to play golf to get green fees included in the cost of the visa, different classes, boxing, horse riding, elephant camp activities. And there's even more, when you get the document. And some people, this is not appealing. It's not something they want. And then other people, they enjoy that. And it's, one way you could look at this is like a credit card that has benefits. And there's different fees for different credit cards and different benefits that go with it. And they're always just trying to target different people who may or may not want these benefits. So this Adventure Thailand, it's really reserved just for this Elite Ultimate Privilege and people who are a derivative family member of that. Relaxation. And this is basically massage. And they're saying with the Elite Ultimate Privilege, 24 times a year, the family derivative gets 10 and you don't get the rest. So this is a pretty nice benefit. You can go to a high-end spa, and depending on the spa and the deal they have with Thailand Elite, you'll get 90 minutes or 2 hours, and you can use that 24 times a year. And again, all of these benefits are for the PE visa. Some versions of the SE visa had unlimited benefits. And though I'm sure Thailand Elite gets a discount, you could see if someone took advantage of that, that really could get quite expensive. It could even exceed the cost of the visa if you used it enough. Let's shrink this down so that we can see the top tranches there. So this healthier, what this basically is you can go to top hospital, Boomerang Rot, BNH, and once a year for tranches where it's available, the Elite Ultimate Privilege or the Elite Privilege Access, you can go and get a full physical included. So here they're offering additional services, and you're saying actually everybody gets this. So in this extraordinary VIP services, this is something all members, all different tranches of the Elite Visa get. So when they say airport service, that's a concierge at the airport that's helping you through immigration. Only ones who have this short haul and long haul are eligible for the limo service. This Elite personal assistance, they'll help you with things like getting a driver's license or getting insurance. And you get this once for free, and then after that, there is a cost for that. So the last one is 90-day reporting. So nowadays, you can do the 90-day reporting online, but some people don't want to be bothered, and other people say the website at times isn't working properly. So as another option, you can drop your passport off at Thailand Elite, and they will go to immigration for you and get your 90-day reporting and give you back your passport. And I'd like to take this moment here to review again extension versus reporting. All of these privileged entry visas are extensible in 1-year increments, and the special entry, should you be an original holder or a transferee, are going to be extensible in 90-day increments, and then those are within 5-year periods of the stamp. But for the privileged entry visa, they also offer the 90-day reporting service, and that is not available for the special entry visa. That is only something that's available for the privileged entry visa. So you might be wondering, okay, why did they even bother to make this distinction? It's because the privileged entry visa is the new program. This is the one that's profitable. It's administratively easier to maintain. So they're really eager and prefer if you're on the privileged entry visa, and they're going to offer you more benefits to try to encourage that. However, contractually, they are still bound to honor some facets of the special entry visa. So there's advantages and disadvantages to that. Okay, moving on down, we see extraordinary privileges. So this is a little bit confusing. What this is are services where Thailand Elite will assist you. Sometimes, for example, it can be difficult to open a bank account. They'll go there with you, explain you're a member of Thailand Elite, and make sure you can open a bank account. Also, they will help you get a Thai driver's license, all the documents, take you there, and do their best to make sure you get it. The limousine service is different than the airport limousine service. This is if you want to rent a limousine and take you on a trip somewhere. So this is available to everybody. They'll do it once for free, but after that there is a cost, and you have to check with Thailand Elite what that cost is. But it's presumed that you're getting good value, that it's at a discount, and this is a value-added service. Extraordinary benefits. So this is, really depending on your taste, something you may or may not enjoy, but so places like Emporium or Icon Siam, you're going to get discounts, and they specifically mention Paragon here. So here we're getting into something that most people are probably not going to take advantage of, but they have here extraordinary luxury, and I guess they'll try to help you charter a private jet or a yacht, the super high rollers. So you see here, everybody is eligible to take advantage of the service, but I'm not sure how much of a bargain it is or how much you would actually want to use that. Okay, let's shrink this down again. So we see here this last thing, upgrade. And you see there's only one that's available for that. And this is this Elite Easy Access. You'll see here this one costs $500,000. The upgrade is $1.5 million. And you'll see that equals this $2 million. And what you're upgrading to is this Elite Ultimate package. So the way Thailand Elite sees it is this is like a trial visa. And the cost, relatively speaking, is more affordable. It's less of a time commitment. And it comes with, a couple different benefits here. It even has this short haul limousine service. So they're giving you a taste of this Elite Ultimate privilege. And what they're hoping is that you'll use this. And then within 5 years, you'll say, hey, I want to go all the way to this Elite Ultimate privilege, and you'll upgrade. So that's why this one uniquely has this upgrade feature, and that's really not available in these other choices. Okay, so I skipped this one line here, member transfer. You'll notice only these two and this one can be transferred. So if you remember in my original discussion, there were early versions of the special entry visa, the original Thailand Elite, that could be transferred unlimited times. However, in the new privilege entry version, they try to greatly curtail that. And with its ultimate privilege, you're getting one time. And this one, where it's the one that it's a derivative, you can only transfer it to another family member. So this is really an interesting and unique facet of the Thailand Elite Visa, that it even can be transferred. People don't typically think of a visa as something that a person can transfer to another person, but this you can. So even though this really comes at a premium, that's somewhat nice. It's like insurance. If you decide at some point you no longer want the visa, you are able to transfer it to another person. And again, that's included in this condo version, and all these are 20-year visas or subject to the validity of the core member. So this can be transferred, and the person who is receiving the visa, they're not going to get a new 20 years. They're going to get however many years are still remaining. So another aspect you'll see here is transfer fee. So this is saying Thailand Elite, they want 20% of the prevailing rate. So whatever this visa currently costs, the person who is receiving the visa will need to pay Thailand Elite 20%. So I guess you could argue they're getting an 80% discount. However, the person who owns the visa also is going to want some type of fee. So that's not a set price. That's something you're going to have to negotiate if you're buying this on a secondhand market. Something I want to note is this is all for privilege entry visa. In the case of a special entry visa, there were a few different tiers of it. And contractually, there's just different percentages that you may be obligated to pay. So that's going to be set on a case-by-case basis. The ability to transfer it, what you pay, and what the person who owns the visa is going to want. Also, as I noted, the original special entry visas were lifetime visas.
When you transfer a special entry visa to a new member, they are entitled to a 30-year special entry visa. And in some cases, you will be able to transfer that to a privileged entry visa. And depending on the original special entry visa, will determine how many years you get in the PE visa. But in most cases, that will be 20 years if you elect to transfer to the privileged entry visa. Another thing I want to mention is both of these short haul and long haul limo services are only available at Chiang Mai, Phuket, Koh Samui, or some people say Koh Samui, and Bangkok. This is not available at every office. Furthermore, this 90-day reporting service is only available at those same offices. It's not available if you live in some kind of outlying province where they don't have Thailand Elite representation.
The word elite is often associated with wealth and influence, which elicits celebration or derision depending on your perspective. Surely the Thailand Elite program, also known as the Thailand Privilege Card, leverages this association in their branding. Furthermore, where I'm from, the United States, the word privilege may evoke intimations of unmerited opportunity. The Thailand Elite Visa markets itself as having an air of exclusivity. Now, there are some who find this appealing, yet there are people who are the target market that seek a long-term Thai visa who view this branding and nomenclature dismissively. For them, I would encourage you to watch the rest of this video, consider the points in it, and then make your decision. And well, after all, who wouldn't want to be aloft the Andaman Sea with these two? Even a cursory perusal of social media outlets reveals that the Thailand Elite program has its shares of fans and detractors. These detractors argue members wasted their money on an overpriced icon of excess. These detractors had their moment of schadenfreude when the program was nearly dissolved over a decade ago. Their perspective is that there are cheaper visa options available and that the upfront commitment for elite visas, which comes at a minimum of 500,000 Thai baht, is overpriced when compared to other visa options in Southeast Asia. Though as a young man I had aspirations of fame and fortune, I had resigned myself to an average life. Yet, as a decidedly ordinary person, I find the Thailand Elite program appealing and cost-effective. My decision came after direct experience with other Thai visas and comparing the cost of living without an elite visa and remaining in America versus getting one and staying here in Thailand. I came to the conclusion that while the elite program is not inexpensive, it is a superior value. There are cheaper options in neighboring countries, but cheaper is not always better. Cheaper often ends up costing more when you need something that doesn't exist in the name of cost savings. I've spent the past decade and a half learning the language and culture in Thailand, making friends, and learning the lay of the land. That time and those experiences have value that transcends a few dollars saved, so cheap or not, a neighboring region was never a consideration for me. Now let's explore some of the other Thai visa options and the calculations I use to make financial sense of an elite visa. Before I continue, I want to state again, I am not an immigration expert or an attorney. Furthermore, Thai immigration laws frequently change, so please check all information with Thai immigration, your embassy, and potentially an attorney before making any visa decisions. In Thailand, a retirement visa is a popular option, but comes with age, income, and health insurance requirements for some classes of it. Like the current privileged entry version of the Elite Visa, retirement visas are extensible in 1-year increments. However, if within a 5-year stamp window, holders of the Elite Visa receive an additional 1-year extension upon re-entry to Thailand or at Thai immigration when extending the visa, automatically. As far as 90-day reporting, retirement and most long-stay visas are automatically reset if one leaves and re-enters Thailand within a 90-day period. Every year, holders of a retirement visa must validate that they continue to meet all the requirements of the visa, such as income and, in recent times, having suitable health insurance. Now, I think health insurance is a great idea for everyone, but with some classes of the retirement visa, the decision to have health insurance and what type has been made for you by immigration. While the Elite Visa comes at a greater upfront cost, once that upfront cost is paid and a background check is complete, you do not need to requalify for it. In some cases, retirement visa holders must apply for a re-entry permit before leaving and returning to Thailand at Thai immigration, whereas Elite visas are implicitly multiple entry, and trips to immigration prior to leaving Thailand aren't necessary. Both visa types have pros and cons. Retirement visas are a solid choice for many, but for my wife and I, who are both U.S. citizens in our 40s, we are not eligible for this option. There are several other long-term visa options such as tourist, business, marriage, and education visas, which should also be considered. All have lower upfront costs than elite visas, but each requires revalidation and trips to Thai immigration to maintain. And as I will discuss, when used for the purpose of actually living in Thailand, some of these visas are not appropriate. While the upfront costs may be cheap, in some cases hidden costs and risks that your permission to stay in Thailand could be revoked must be weighed. There is a cost in time and money to secure them, to do visa runs to maintain them, and a risk that one will not be permitted to stay in Thailand even after establishing one's life here with some other visa choices. Now let me tell you about a few personal experiences I've had with other Thai visas. Over a decade ago, I stayed in Thailand for almost 2 years on an education visa while studying Thai language. If one is sincere about studying one of the eligible courses for an education visa, I think it is a solid choice. But the immigration paperwork and scrutiny for those staying long-term on such visas has increased. When I held the education visa, the concept of remote workers, also known as digital nomads, didn't exist. I do not work in Thailand, so my knowledge of how the law applies to remote work here is limited, but I believe individuals using education visas to stay in Thailand while working remotely is one reason for the increased scrutiny. What I do know is the safest option for anyone doing any kind of work in Thailand is to have a work permit and a visa that permits it. Without one, you are at best working in a gray area of the law that could be disadvantageously applied if Thailand elects to crack down on digital nomads without them. I've heard varying opinions, but my general understanding is you cannot get a work permit while holding an elite visa. I would not be surprised if some have found ways around this, but if that is your intent, I would contact a lawyer first. Thai single and multi-entry tourist visas are another category of visa that are attractive to individuals wishing to extend their time in the kingdom. These visas, their relatively low cost and ease of acquisition, are often cited as reasons not to acquire an elite visa. When I first saw the cost of the elite visas, I too thought a multiple entry tourist visa was an economically superior alternative, since I only wanted to be in Thailand about half of the year at the time, and if used tactically, a multiple entry tourist visa gives the holder the ability to stay in Thailand up to 9 months for only a few $100s. I watched numerous videos of others successfully doing this, some for multiple years, and was confident I could do the same. However, though this can be done within the legal duration of the tourist visa, it is less and less tolerated by Thai immigration. Understand, Thai immigration can refuse anyone, regardless of visa validity, if they deem the visa is being used inappropriately, and there is a wide, at their discretion, interpretation of valid usage. Though the multiple entry tourist visa can be used up to 9 months, the intent of it, as the name applies, is tourism. If Thai immigration thinks you're in Thailand, or worse, working in Thailand whilst holding such visas, they will interrogate and potentially bar you from entry. I am not trying to be a scaremonger and push you away from using the tourist visas. I am sharing this because my wife and I personally experienced immigration's distaste for long-stay tourists several times when returning to Thailand on a multiple entry visa. We were questioned for about an hour why we were spending so much time in Thailand, were we working in Thailand, and what was our source of income. The agent asked if I speak Thai, which I do, and then asked why can I speak Thai if I'm only a tourist. This was a frightening, eye-opening experience that made me reevaluate if I wanted to stay in Thailand and how I would do so if I did. While on this tourist visa, and only after showing the immigration officer photos of Facebook and videos of YouTube that clearly demonstrated that my wife and I were in Thailand for tourist purposes, did the questioning relent. Before we were released, I asked the agent if we held the Thailand Elite Visa, if we would encounter the same scrutiny. His reply, no. If you have a Thailand Elite Visa, you have proven your intent and capacity to live in Thailand long term. Those were his exact words. I want to be clear. Though the experience was unpleasant, I am not bitter about it. I'm a guest here and a realist who wishes to stay in Thailand long term. If there is a way for me to avoid negative encounters, I'll either take that option or avoid it entirely by not staying in Thailand long term. We don't have to like the law, we just have to follow it. I am not trying to discourage anyone from using single or multiple entry visas. They're good options, but be aware that the ability to live in Thailand with them is a roll of the dice every time you cross the border. Ease of international transit, infrequent necessity to visit immigration offices, and automatic yearly extensions are benefits of elite visas. In this last segment, I want to share the specific calculations and financial inputs I use to rationalize the upfront cost of an elite visa. Though my wife and I both obtained Thailand Elite Visas, these calculations will be based on a single individual inputs only.
So I did some financial analysis to see if the Thailand Elite Visa made sense for me. And when you're doing financial models, you can get really sophisticated or you can do what you might call back of the envelope, more basic calculations. So I didn't account for inflation or fluctuating currency rates. So I tried to make a sensible but not overly complicated model of how I looked at these costs. As we've discussed, there's different flavors of the Thailand Elite Visa, but for the analysis, I wanted to compare two that I was focusing on. Okay. I became interested in this Elite Easy Access and Elite Superiority Extension. And you see here, this one is 5 years, this is 20 years, this is 500,000 baht, this is a million baht. So for twice the cost, you get 4 times as much. But that's only one way to think about it. There's opportunity costs. You could invest the money. You might not be sure if you want to live in Thailand that long. So even if over time you're going to save money, it might not make sense for you. Okay, so let's look at the calculations. Here are the two visas that I wanted to review. And you see here I have at the top part here, Elite Type, the Easy Access, that's a 5-year one, Superiority Extension, that's a 20-year one. Initially, I do these calculations using Thai baht and US dollar, but thereafter I do everything in US dollar because that is my domicile currency. So you see here we have this duration, 5-year and 20-year, and then the cost is just the total cost of the visa. That's 500,000 Thai baht for the Easy Access, a million baht for the 20-year. And then if you switch that over to USD, these are approximate values. I've rounded, but 15,000 at today's exchange rate and 30,000 US dollars for the total cost. Then that can be broken down by year. For this, you would divide it by 5, you get 100,000. For this, you divide it by 20, you get 50,000. And then again in USD, that's 3,000 annual cost, 1,500 annual cost for the superiority extension. So you can see already on an annual basis, you're saving half the money, but again, there's that upfront commitment and the need to project 20 years into the future. Going into the monthly rate, we see this is 8,000 baht or 250 US dollars a month, 4,000 baht or 125 dollars a month. So here already, even at this lowest cost option, you might be thinking, look, this is more than I want to pay, 125 a month. I could just do visa runs. You could do some of the other options I talked about. But again, when you start wanting to actually live in Thailand, when you count the other expenses and the risks, that starts to become an economical value. And furthermore, it is more than just a visa. Depending on the visa that you get, it comes with various benefits, and that depending on your tastes and your needs, that can have a lot of value as well. One of the key inputs that really drove my decision making was the cost of living. And that is one of the main reasons I live in Thailand. I love the food, I love the weather, I love the culture, but the cost of living is a key factor for me in deciding to live in Thailand. I'm from the United States and I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area. That is where I worked. So that's where I lived. And that also happens to be one of the highest cost parts of the nation. So you could redo these calculations and come up with some lower differentials, but those were the numbers that I was familiar with, and that's what I used. So from this point on, all numbers are going to be in US dollars. So at this top part here, we have cost of living, duration, monthly, annual, and then I break it down for the 5-year total, the 20-year total. I have USA and Thai. So let's look at the annual first. For me, living in the United States, it was about $60,000 annually, and that includes rent and food and entertainment and transportation. And I am married, but in this case, that cost actually, even with my wife, didn't really double because we actually end up saving money by living together. My wife will cook or we'll do activities together that don't require I pay money individually for entertainment. Even with 2 people, that pretty much is going to be my cost of living in the United States, in the San Francisco Bay Area. Next, we have the Thai cost. I live very cheaply in Thailand. I almost only eat Thai food. I walk a lot. I just don't live a very exciting life. And again, one of my motivators for being here is to save money. It costs me, including rent and everything, about $24,000 a year annually. And again, even including my wife, that really doesn't change that much. That's the annual cost. Using the same math, monthly it's $5,000 in the United States, $2,000 in Thailand. Differentials here, you see it's a difference of $3,000 a month and $36,000 a year. And I also break that down by 5 years. So over 5 years, I would have spent $300,000, and this is not counting inflation and other fluctuating costs. So just at a flat rate, $300,000 for 5 years, $1.2 million for 20 years. And then you see the drastic difference in Thailand, $120,000 for 5 years, $480,000 for 20 years. And these differentials, $180 for 5 years, $720 for 20 years. We can do a little bit of math here. So if we look at the annual rate, let's divide 36 by 60 times 100. And then we see here, it's about a 60% saving. So just purely by living in Thailand, I'm saving 60% of my money. And those numbers, 60% generally play out over the different durations. Here I have a running total, and you see in the first year, I've saved $36,000, in the second year, $72,108, until I get to that 20-year point here at the bottom of $720. It's already doing some very simplistic math. We know that the 5-year visa costs approximately $15,000. So even after 1 year, I've already made money just by having the visa. And then when you go to the 20-year, it's twice the cost for 4 times as much. But you see, even after 2 years for one person, I've saved $72,000. But in this case, if I am going to consider my wife also, you have to double that cost. If we go back to this table here, we see it's $15,000 for the 5-year. That's the total cost. $30,000 for the 20-year. All this math, again, is based on one person, but just simplistically considering with my wife, I've paid twice the amount for the visa. With all these numbers, even if you double them, you'll see still is pretty obvious savings. $15,000 for the 5-year, and we see even after 1 year, that's already paid for itself. And then $30,000 for the 20-year. That again, even in 1 year, but even considering my wife and doubling it and $60,000, it only takes me 2 years. Basically, I've paid for it in 2 years, and then I've got 18 years free. Is one way I look at how this works out. The cost of living is just one way to think about it. The other way to think about it is the opportunity cost for the money you would have spent on the Thailand Elite Visa. Assuming I would have money beyond the cost of the visa for living expenses, if I took that money and I put it in the stock market, and let's just assume an 8% annual return, I've done some compound annual growth rate future value analysis of what that money might look like in both 5 and 20-year time frames. First, let's look at the 5-year, and then I'm taking the inputs of 5 years and the $15,000 cost. Okay, so let's look at the calculation here for a minute. I'm saying an 8% rate over 5 years. This 0 basically means I get a lump sum at the end, and I've plunked down $15,000. I'm getting the money at the end. So it's saying with the 8% assumption over 5 years, I could expect $15,000 would be about $22,000 after 5 years, and that is a gain of $7,000. $7,000 gain after 5 years. Let's do some really simple math. 70/40 divided by 15,000 times 100. So that's about a 47% gain after 5 years. And even with that, and that's assuming nothing went wrong and you made 8%, you'd have 47%. And even with that gain, still you can say it's still superior with the cost of living. And with this money saved, you could put that money in the market. So that's another way to look at that. Okay, so you might say, what about the 20-year? It's the same thing again, except this time we're looking at a 20-year time period and a $30,000 cost. We've got the assumption of 8% over 20 years, just a lump payment. Put down $30,000, you get the money at the end. So your $30,000 has become $139,829. So that's a nice gain. $109,000. That's from your initial $30,000. Again, do some quick math. 109,829 divided by 30,000 times 100. So there we've got about a 366% gain, and that's a nice gain. Most people would be quite happy with that. But again, even with that, after 20 years, you see I've saved $750,000 just with the cost saving. And again, with that cost saving, I could be putting that in the market. So you really have to have a pretty impressive growth rate to beat these savings. Both of these numbers to work. So this assumes you stay in Thailand for the majority of the time over either 5 years or 20-year time period in order to achieve these cost savings where a lot of the economical value is coming from. So I've done a running total for people maybe not familiar with future value who just want to see the numbers. And you can see here, your first year at 8%, you make $1,200. You can put that back in, and then it starts compounding. That's where the 7,040 amount is coming from. Just kind of gradually comes over time. Same thing for the 20-year. This is how eventually you end up with this 109,829 number. I know there's going to be some people much more sophisticated than me with financial models. So this is, just a couple basic inputs. This is in taking into effect the effects of compounding, and just to kind of look at it one other way. There's 8% return, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 years worth of return at 8%, and we can take the product of that. You see there, you've got a 47% gain. That's if you're getting this 8% a year. And then if we can do this another way, 70/40 divided by 15,000 equals 47%. So that, that's where this math is coming from. These are some very compelling values to me. And you can see where, even though it's a lot of upfront cost, if you're confident you can make the commitment to stay in Thailand long term and achieve these savings, put that back in the market or whatever your chosen investment is, it really can make a lot of economical sense. And unlike other visas, you really can depend that you're going to be able to stay in Thailand with the Thailand Elite Visa. I realize some people have some questions, what about the stability of Thailand? But even through some significant government changes, even through the program nearly being insolvent, it still has endured. I'd be really surprised if it doesn't continue in the future. Nothing in the world is risk-free, but that is not something I'm very concerned about. There's no guarantees, not really even factoring that in. And if that happens, okay, fine. Again, after only a couple years, I've already made my money back, so whatever. I would just plan B and go back to the United States. So I hope this basic financial analysis helps you see how I made financial sense of the visa. It comes with time commitment and certain assumptions for the different model inputs, but I think they're pretty reasonable. They're already coming true for me, so I'm pretty happy with the purchase so far.
Another thing I want to mention about the Thailand Elite Visa, and this is something I never really expected when I first purchased it, with this COVID-19 worldwide virus pandemic situation, you really don't want to have to leave the country. You don't want to have to go to immigration. And I'm really grateful that I have the Thailand Elite Visa right now, and just that I have a visa where I can basically sit tight and ride this out. I don't have to be burdened with the changing immigration situation or being on airplanes. So that itself really has a lot of value, and that's a consideration you should take if you want to live in Thailand. The nicety of having a stable visa, and it doesn't have to be the Thailand Elite Visa, but considering some type of visa that is going to make you feel comfortable here and that you're able to stay without any problems. Now we can see here it's a beautiful day in Bangkok, very clear, the most clear I have seen it since I've come here. Typically I wear a mask when I go outside due to the pollution, but ironically due to the virus situation, I am still wearing a mask even though the air is about as clean and beautiful as it has ever been. Me and my wife ended up going for the 20-year visa. As you saw with the math, it really can be very economical if you're committed to staying here. We are committed to staying here, and even if we don't, even if we only stay for a couple years, it already has paid for itself. So I'm very happy with the purchase. I am personally a fan of Thailand Elite. I've tried to be open and honest that it has its pros and cons, but for me and people in my situation, it can make a lot of sense. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is how I got the visa. I live in Bangkok, and I just went to the Thailand Elite office and I talked to them and I got the process started. I know that you can use agents. I'm not exactly sure what they're for, but maybe if you don't live in Bangkok or you just don't want to be burdened with paperwork, that could have an advantage as well to use one of the agents. When I wanted to learn more about the Thailand Elite Visa, I just went right to the office and could type here in Thailand Elite Visa, but it goes by two names, Thailand Elite Visa and Thailand Privilege Card. So this is the one, Thailand Privilege Card. If you're in Bangkok, they may have other offices. So you see here, you go to Chong Non Si, and then it's really just right around the corner. And I found everybody, really helpful and friendly. I've had a good experience working with the Thailand Elite. They gave me complete information and what I needed to know. I thought about it, I did the math, and then I ended up getting the visa. You can see here if you click on this and then have a little picture and this Mahanakorn building that looks pixelated. This is the office. Just go right in there, and I'm sure they'll be happy to help you get more information and move forward if that is what you wish to do. Earlier in the video, I talked about the transferability of the Thailand Elite Visa. It can be difficult to find these. There isn't really a central resource, and it's certainly not something that's available on the Thailand Elite website since they want you to buy the new visa. So I did see some on this website, bought, sold, but this really is caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. Thailand Elite, will help you with the paperwork, but you're on your own really to facilitate this deal, to arrange the payment, and to get it to work. And you see here in this case, the person is saying they have the old type. It's 5-year renewable, 30-year, and then benefits. And I'm sure you would have to contact them to get more detail. I'm not really an advocate of getting an old or new one. You can sometimes probably get a bargain, or you can get more extensive benefits by getting the secondhand one. But there is advantages to having the new visa as well. So that really is a personal decision. And I've tried to equip you with the information you need to make that decision, but I don't really have any advice as far as which one is better. It's whatever is best for your situation. There you have it, the Thailand Elite Visa. For my and my wife's particular situation, the Thailand Elite Visa has been great for us. I'm very happy with the purchase, and it was the right thing for me. I hope this video has helped you decide if it is the right thing for you. If you have any other questions or things you'd like to know about the visa, or really anything regarding Thailand, feel free to ask in the comments below. Have a great day.